Hi, I'm Ross Rosenberg. Welcome to my latest YouTube video and podcast. Today I want to talk about the concept of a parasite in order to describe your relationship with a pathological narcissist. As many of you know, in my Human Magnet Center book and in the Codependency Revolution book, I talked about the magnetic attraction that opposite individuals have on each other. The caregiving, altruistic, patient person always seems to be attracted to the selfish, needy, and self-centered person. It's like the dancing couple that I talked about earlier in my career and in my book. So SLDs, or codependents, are reflexively attracted to pathological narcissists. That is a fact. And now that the book has been out for over 12 years, there has been no one to disprove it. And I don't say that to brag, but to establish the importance of that understanding, that until that we get better, until we solve our SLDD, our self-love deficit disorder, or codependency, our picker, our intuitive way of knowing who is good for us or who is attractive is always going to lead us to the narcissist, even though we don't really want that. So now that we got the foundation of the human magnet syndrome and its explanation for why we get into relationships with pathological narcissists, I want to use the metaphor of a parasite. But let me define to you what a parasite is. A parasite is an organism that depends on a host organism for its life, for its well-being, for its safety. It cannot survive on its own and needs the life force of the host organism in order to give it what it can't get for itself. So one of my favorite examples, and I probably saw it on some documentary, is little fish that coexist with shark, and they swim around the shark's body, and the shark lets them do it and doesn't eat them up. Well, what they do is they eat the dead skin and all of the unhealthy organisms that latch onto it and kind of keeps them clean. And that is a symbiotic relationship. So if we think of a pathological narcissist, they can't live by themselves. Some people like the term emotional vampire. I always resisted that concept because, it kind of brings things into the paranormal. We're not really talking about a horror film. We don't have actual vampires. However, if we look at it metaphorically, a narcissist vampire, the parasite, but a narcissist vampire cannot survive without draining the blood of another victim. Now, you should know this because it's in all the movies, and of course I'm joking because this is all comes from stories, books, old folk tales, but a narcissist does not drain the blood of the victim to the point of death, just enough so where they can still be alive and then later go back and get more blood. And whether it's the original Dracula movie I saw with Bela Lugosi that I think was filmed in the mid to late 1930s, or the one done with Tom Cruise, I think it was Diaries of a Vampire, but don't quote me, or the Dracula movie with Gary Oldman, it's the same setup. Metaphorically, the narcissist lives in darkness. It does not want people to know who they are and their true deeper motives. There is a secret to them. And they seek victims who they can hypnotize, somehow get them to lower their guard, to lower their inhibitions, to let them get close, and then feel powerless over their embrace and eventual plunging their teeth into their neck and sucking their blood. And that is satiating. It makes the vampire feel alive again. In some of these movies, they radiate with health and happiness after they almost killed their victim. So if we think of that as the metaphor within this discussion of parasites, pathological narcissists need the life force from the codependent in order to survive in a world that without it they would be alive, lonely, broken, and would succumb to the reality of their core shame that they spend their whole lives running away from. So if you're an SLD or a codependent and you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, I want you to consider that your partner, your loved one, your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, who is a pathological narcissist needs to suck your life force out from you to survive. In other words, they need to take from you what makes you happy and a good person and connected with others. They need for you to turn that to them, give that to them, give them the attention, the love, the respect, the caring, the trust, the protection, while they deprive you from giving it to yourself, which is self-love, or friends who actually can reciprocate. And if you come to the conclusion that, yeah, you're a codependent or you're an SLD and you're stuck in this relationship with a pathological narcissist, it's really going to help you to look at this idea of being a victim to a parasite. That your narcissist cannot survive without your extreme sacrifices. That for you to be in a relationship and escape your nemesis, which is the nemesis, the enemy of all codependents or SLDs, is pathological loneliness. And just a reminder for those who are newer to my topics is self-love deficit disorder, SLDD, or codependency, can be described by the pyramid that it is caused by attachment trauma of being raised by a narcissistic parent, core shame, this fundamental belief that you are unlovable or inherently broken, pathological loneliness, this existential disease of feeling empty and without purpose and alone in this world and only goes away if you're in a relationship, and SLDD addiction, which is this compulsive desire to make the pain go away, the pathological loneliness. And the drug of choice for SLDD addiction is the relationship. Because when you're in a relationship, you're not lonely. But because of the human magnet syndrome, that relationship is always with the narcissist. And at the very top of the pyramid is everything that codependents or SLDs do that people understand is a problem. By accepting the concept that you have married, you have put yourself into a relationship, you are connected because of a family, or somehow you are in a relationship with a pathological narcissist and that they can't survive without your sacrifices, that will help you because it will help you understand what is being taken away from you, what you are losing, what you are being depleted from. It will help you to better understand what would life be like if you didn't have to sacrifice so much for someone who gives so little. Now think about that. If you were not in a relationship with a pathological narcissist and let's say a garden variety healthy person who's got problems but still loves themselves and is respectful to others, they would want something from you just like you would want something from them. We'll call that healthy reciprocity or mutuality. But they're not going to take more from you that they're not willing to give to you. But for you, and I assume that you're codependent or an SLD, you're giving so much away of yourself that you have no idea what it would be like to have that and keep it for yourself, to live your life with self-esteem, self-respect, self-care, and that make time in your busy schedule is to just pamper yourself, to love yourself, to protect yourself. It's a foreign concept, is to keep this life force that is responsible for self-love abundance, for healthy mental health functioning, for positive mental health functioning, is you have to take care of yourself. You have to actively find ways to make yourself feeling happier, safe, and secure. That is good mental health. But what you probably do is you are sacrificing and giving so much away that at the end of the day, you're left empty-handed and then upset why your narcissist won't give you what you've given them. And that is the trap. That's the dance. You are dancing with someone who wants to lead the dance, but yet will you be upset at why you have to follow? Well, you will if you want the dance to fall apart. Well, that's what I'm asking now, is take a look inside about how much you've lost in your life by letting someone leech your beautiful, wonderful, leech so much of what makes you beautiful, wonderful, and worthwhile. You need to hold on to it and fight for yourself. Don't let a blood-sucking parasite take from what you should be giving yourself or from what you should be giving to others that are reciprocal and mutual and with loving, respecting, caring, trusting, and protecting. You are in love with a parasite. Face it. A parasite. They can't live without you. They have to take away from you, steal from you, that will get you to the point of being sick, if not being sick already. Not that there are real vampires, but you must look in this respect, that you are giving away your life force, your blood, that you need in order to be happy. If you go on a plane, they'll tell you, if the oxygen mask dropped down, put it on yourself first before taking care of your child. In other words, what good are you if you're asphyxiated and dead? What good are you in protecting your child? Well, you have to protect yourself. You have to take in what is yours that is not supposed to be given away or stolen or exploited. Look at it as the parasite and the parasite's victim. If you can see how much you lose at the expense of your narcissist, your life will change. And I suggest, perhaps through watching my videos, looking at my book, or getting involved in my Patreon program. And I'm going to give a plug to that in just a moment, but is to find a way to recognize the losses and the pain and the agony of being self-love deficient, codependent. Find a way to heal those deeply embedded wounds that are mostly invisible to most therapists because they are embedded and created by attachment trauma that is stored in the part of your brain, the limbic system, that is not accessible to talk treatment or talk therapy, which is why I created my self-love recovery treatment program, and specifically my HITCH technique, the Healing the Inner Trauma Child Trauma Integration Technique, where I can reach those memories that have been cordoned off, that have been assigned to the dark, dank confines of a part of your memory that is not accessible to your conscious mind. We can get those and help that defenseless, bruised, battered child that you once were back when you were raised by a narcissist and a codependent, is to help you heal that tremendous trauma so that you don't have to constantly hold your, and I say it, metaphoric neck and offer it up to the narcissist. Say no to the parasite. Let the parasite starve or figure out a way to feed itself. You can do this. If you want more of my help, I strongly suggest my Patreon program. Of course, my books, The Human Magnet Syndrome, I usually have a copy next to me, or The Codependency Revolution, my latest book, is going to be helpful. Or you can contact me and become a psychotherapy client in my self-love recovery treatment program. But another option is the Patreon program. And that is designed for people with different budgets who can't afford the psychotherapy or the treatment, is to access services, exclusive content, and parts of what I do and learn how I do it and get some inside information that can greatly help your pursuit of self-love, or what I call self-love recovery. So check out my website, selfloverecovery.com. Shoot us an email at help@selfloverecovery.com. And please learn how to love yourself and stay away from those blood-sucking parasites. You be well, and I'll talk to you soon.